Unit C. Let me pull the PowerPoint open this time and see if it actually doesn't hang. There we go. So Unit C is going to be on computer software. And I'll draw this little image on the board so just so you can get an idea about a software hierarchy. So computer software comes in two main categories. One is going to be system, and the other one's going to be application. The biggest difference between system and application software is that system does all of your foundational, runs in the background. It's your platform for the computer so that it can run application software. Application software is for specialized tasks that you want to do, like edit movie, create documents, edit audio, different things like that, application software. So when you hear somebody talking about smartphones and they say, you know, do you have an app for that, an app for this? It's the same thing like on a desktop. It's an application that allows you to do a specific task. System software, it does specific tasks, but it's not for you. It's for the system to run appropriately. You need system software on your computer. You don't need applications. You're going to want applications because you have to have software that performs specific tasks. Underneath system software, we have three main types. One of them is your operating system. So like your Windows, your Mac operating system, or Linux or Unix is going to be operating system. Under system also, you have utilities, things that monitor and diagnose and help you troubleshoot your computer. Antivirus is also two things that scan your system. And then the last thing you have under system software is drivers. Does this book have language?
Yeah, it has
Languages. Languages is going to be kind of like a new addition to me because the older books didn't have this as a system software. It's saying that when you insert certain information into your computer, a language translator translates it into binary code ones and zeros so that your computer can understand it. Like your computer can't understand you on a microphone speaking into it like the way I'm doing right now. There's a language translator that's built in within the system that translates my audio into ones and zeros binary code that it can understand. Make sense?
Yeah, because I was wondering, because I try to use that Google Chrome, the little mic on there, and it's like, I don't care how you speak, it doesn't pick it up.
Not that kind of language.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about phonetics. This is talking about programming languages. That just might be, need to be trained for your voice. Yeah. That's speech recognition software.
Okay, yeah.
So that just needs to be trained. So then the fourth one is going to be language. You don't always see language translators there, but your book has it. We could definitely put it there. So 4 main types of system software. Application software comes in 2 main categories. It's going to be basic and specialized. Basic software is going to be software that allows you to do basic computing tasks. So when you talk about the 4 types of basic software, they're going to be word processors, like Word that we use in this class. It's going to be spreadsheet, things that manipulate numerical values, like Excel. It's going to be databases, things that store and organize data for you, like Access in this class. And then it's also going to be presentation, like PowerPoint. So those are your 4 basic types of software. Specialized software comes in 5 types. Beyond these basic tasks right here, you can get software that allow you to do even more specialized tasks on another level. So when you do want to do things like video edit, create web pages, use artificial intelligence and stuff like that, you're using specialized software. So the 5 main categories of specialized software is going to be artificial intelligence software, things that create robots, things that allow you to do simulations, like driving simulations, airplane simulations, any type of technology that takes on some type of a human behavior is going to be artificial intelligence. And then another one is going to be under special is multimedia. Anytime you're using multiple medias like video, audio, using the internet, web pages, and you combine it all that into one presentation is going to be multimedia. So just like it sounds, multiple forms of media in one presentation. Another special software is going to be audio video editing software. So like video production software, audio production software. That's a third kind. Another special software is going to be web authoring software that allows you to create and design websites. And the fifth specialized software is, it's escaping me at the moment, graphic software. Photo editing. So graphic software. So you see how this breaks down? All of these things are software. One is for the system. You see these things here, they're not where you're going to find your individual specific task at. These are just things to make your system run better and more efficiently. Once you have this foundational system software running, then you can do all the things under application software under basic or either specialized. Make sense? Okay. Yeah, it's not that pretty of a drawing, but it definitely works for this purpose. I'm going to go through the objectives and go ahead straight into the software. Computer programs as files that provide a computer with instructions to carry out a task. So your computer, you want to do a specific task on your system. Software just tells it what that task is you want to complete. That's it. Without software letting you know what task you want to complete, you all don't have a means of communication. Software is like a middleman between what you want to get done and what the computer can actually do for you. You add the software, then it knows what you want. The interface you see works with the way that you think. The interface that the computer sees works with the way that it thinks. Software bridges the gap. Two categories of software, we just covered those. Application software. When they say productivity software, they're talking about your basic software, like word processing, spreadsheets, database, and presentation. Groupware is going to be any type of software that can be used with groups. I think it's something like a lot of the web-based software we have out there now, like Google Docs, where you can create documents and save them and let other people in your groups be a part of creating on the document. And so when they update things, you get alerts or emails saying the document's been updated, blah, blah, blah. That to me is like the best example of groupware. And this is the hierarchy I just set up when it talks about the software, the system, and the application and how they separate. Operating system, it manages the computer resources by interacting with software and hardware. It's the in-between between the software and hardware. When you install new hardware on your system, the computer does not know what you've installed on your system until the operating system tells it. So the part of the system that tells your computer, this is the software that goes with that piece of hardware, is going to be the operating system. It is the logical thought process for how everything happens on a computer.
And that's what kind of confused me when I was reading it, because I thought it was like random access memory, but it's the ROM memory when it's booting up.
Yeah, read-only memory. Read-only memory has to stay the same, and it's read-only memory just like the way it sounds, because when your computer boots up, there's no operating system running yet, but you need a system in which you can tell it to boot up to this operating system. Where that memory, where that storage is held, is going to be in your read-only memory year-round. They call it non-volatile because it's loyal to one task, and that's all it does. The RAM, on the other hand, is volatile. It's not loyal. It's used by whatever software you have open. Once your computer boots up, you open applications, you open up to do different tasks. The memory is being used. Once you close that program, the memory dumps it, and it allows for other programs. So it's not loyal. It's useful for anything that you're working on. The boot process, the entire boot process happens between hitting the power button and when the computer actually turns all the way on. Until you see the desktop on the computer, that's when you know that the boot process is over with. It actually loads the operating system on your computer. Think about operating systems as the only way the computer operates for you is if you have an operating system on it. It's real. If you think about a lot of computer terms, they're real logical in the way that they're named and the way that you can refer to things. We just talked about the task manager saying that when you have processes running on your computer and say you don't have enough memory running and it's too many tasks or too much multitasking going on at one time, your computer may freeze or lock up. You can go ahead and hit Control-Alt-Delete, open your task manager, and you'll see that one of your processes has stopped or it's frozen. Even if this is not the case, sometimes people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm trying to open up Word. I click on it, but nothing's happening. Well, in the background, there's still an instance of it running on the system that's not allowing you to open up a new instance of Word. So you open Task Manager, it'll show you everything that's running at that specific time. Close out the old instance of Word, then when you go to open Word again, then it opens up a fresh instance of it. So you want to make sure you pay attention to what's actually running on my computer right now by using your Task Manager. So in comparing operating systems, there are 3 main operating systems for personal computers. There's many underneath those, but these are the 3 main ones. Windows, most of us, how many people are using Windows in this class? Everybody. Are you using a Mac?
No.
Windows? And even if you were using a Mac, you could still be running Windows. A lot of people do that. They use the Boot Camp program, and they allow it to separate into 2 virtual machines and go ahead and split it up that way. And then Linux. The thing about Linux is that it's open source operating system. Whenever you hear the words open source, that means the source code is open for anybody who wants to edit it or reprogram it or change it. If you want to tweak it for your own personal use, then you do that. Windows is not an operating system that's like that. Windows is for people that just want to be an end user, that want to be a consumer. Linux caters more to people that actually want to reprogram, edit the source code, tweak it to fit their exact needs. If you ever see the interfaces for Linux and Windows, those interfaces pretty much look the same. You're like, there's windows, there's icons, there's toolbars, there's taskbars, there's a date, there's time. It has the same idea about it, the same type of interface that's going on. It's the capabilities of it that changes. The newest version of Linux that you may start seeing on computers now, and Linux has been around a long time, deriving from Unix, the network operating system, is going to be Ubuntu. That's when it's starting to be loaded on Dell computers now. So that's kind of different because for the longest it's only been Windows that's being loaded on your computers when you purchase them. If it was a PC, then you get Windows for free with it. So now they're working with the Linux software, and that's pretty different. The Windows developed by Microsoft 7 is the latest version of Windows. Mac operating system used on Apple Macintosh computers. The latest one is Snow Leopard. Linux developed by Linus Torvalds, available as a free download, and it's a free operating system too. You can run Windows operating system on a Mac if you have an Intel Mac. So if you have an Intel processor running inside your Macintosh computer, you can run Windows on it. Why do you think that Windows is more popular than any of the other operating systems out there? They have like 90% of the market share.
Pretty much because they started selling it to PCs before everybody else.
That's the biggest thing. They market really well, they advertise, and you can run Windows on any PC, even a Mac. And with Mac operating system, it's not like that. You can't run a Mac operating system on anything but a Macintosh computer. And so that if it's a Dell computer, whether it's a Compaq or an HP or an Acer or Asus, there are all kinds of computers out there. They're all running Windows on them with no problem. They work on the same platform. And so Macintosh will be considered to be a real proprietary type product. They only make their own software, their own applications that you can download, their own operating system, and it goes on their equipment, and that's it. And they're nice enough to allow you to run Windows on it, but it doesn't go the other way around, of course. And this is just a snapshot of how Windows 7 looked, but that's what's on your computers now, so you don't need to. And this is the Mac operating system. So you see that they can have settings that are in different places, but the idea of the way an operating system works is the same for all of these platforms. And this right here is Linux. Same idea. Toolbars, taskbars, telling you what programs are running. Windows open, calculator. Thing about Linux is that you can't run your regular software on it. What works on it well is open office products like Open Calculator, Open Presenter, like your stuff like Outlook and all that. You can't run that on a Linux machine. You can have a complete setup that's catered to the Linux operating system that's free, and you'll be able to do the same tasks that you did with the Windows computer, but it's going to be with different software. So if you can get past that, you can get a lot of free options when it comes to what type of operating system you want to run on your computer. Office productivity software integrates word processing, spreadsheets, database, drawing, and presentation capabilities. So like I talked about before, anything office task related, administrative related is going to fall into the basic software area. That's office productivity software. Word processing software, things like Word, spreadsheet, things like Excel. There's different brands for all of these types of basic software. We just mostly focus on Microsoft Office. But there's like WordPerfect makes a version, word processor, spreadsheet, a presenter. In the other classes that I teach, I have them search online for some different types of brands so that they know there's a lot of other brands out there that carry the same type of products. But we're just used to using Microsoft for a lot of our stuff. A worksheet inside of your spreadsheets is going to be a grid of columns and rows. So we already know anytime you're manipulating numerical data, that's going to be considered spreadsheet. Database software is anytime you collect data and store it in a series of records and tables. Makes it easily accessible, easily queried, easily searched, easily organized. Database software will do that for you. It provides tools needed to create a database. Presentation, in this class we use Access. Most of the time though, what people find is that they study Access, but they go to their jobs and they find jobs in different places and nobody uses Access. Well, the idea about a database is that the general design of them is the same. The way they operate, the way they work, the way you make new queries, the way you search other employees out, or by telephone number, or date of birth, or products and by products numbers. Databases pretty much work the same. So what you do is get the foundational understanding of how a database works. But when you go off into jobs, you'll see that they don't use Access just that much. A lot of people use it for home businesses because it's good basic software for that. And then presentation software, anything like PowerPoint like we're using right now. Anytime you're presenting some type of graphics and text, pictures, audio, is going to be presentation. The open office version of that is Impress. So if you go to like openoffice.org, you can download all these things. Open Calculator, the word processing portion of OpenOffice, OpenOffice Impress, and it works generally the same as all the Microsoft products work, but this is for free. And you can load it on your regular Windows computer too. If you want to use one and the other, I get files from students all the time that use OpenOffice because they don't have Microsoft Office, and it'll open up for me inside of my Office products. It doesn't take that away from you. And when you're working inside those products, it'll let you save it as .exe files or .doc like you're using Office. The same way. We know what graphics are, pictures, any type of visual drawing, sketch, or a photograph. Graphic software helps you display, create, and modify, manipulate, and print graphics. So you think about things like Photoshop. That's going to be like the #1 heard of like software that people use to edit. The graphic software that Photoshop falls under is going to be specialized. There's the basic version of those types of software that comes along with the operating system like Paint. It allows you to bring a picture in and to resize it and to save it as a different file type, stuff like that. Paint does. Paint allows you to draw. There's a difference. Some allow you to manipulate pictures and some allow you to actually draw. Paint allows you to draw. And then you have that Microsoft Picture Viewer that's built into the Office too that allows you to edit things inside of a picture, but you can't draw on it. So there's drawing software and there's just pictures and editing picture software too. And some are combined. Paint is already on the list. We just discussed that. Drawing software provides tools to create simple images. So in our photo editing software, it includes features that help you improve the quality of photos. So like the one on the one hand, the Microsoft Picture Viewer, it'll let you improve the quality, resize it, crop the photo out, make it black and white, or whatever you want to do to it, those simple things to kind of enhance the photo, you can do that inside basic graphic software. Anytime you want to edit the actual look of the picture, take people out of the picture, make somebody's hair longer, make stomachs flat or whatever they used to do on magazine covers, that's when you're going to be using programs that allow you to draw. Because you have to draw in the look that you want the picture to have, like Photoshop does in Paint. One of my students say that they actually can accomplish most of what Photoshop does using Paint. So depends on how well you know how to use these tools, I guess they can work. I've only ever did that one time for an employee wanted me to take a house that she had, and it had a handicap ramp on it, and they were trying to sell it, but they didn't want to sell it with the ramp on it and put the picture out there because they said they were removing it. So she wanted to take me to take the picture and edit the handicap ramp out from in front of the house and recreate the driveway without it on there. And I was able to do it, and that was probably the most intricate, detailed Photoshop venture I've ever been on as far as removing something that big from in front of a house, recreating bushes and grass and flowers. And that's when I realized I have zero interest in any type of graphic editing software because I had learned the tools, but I never used it. And I'm a perfectionist, so I wanted it to be perfect, and it took forever, but they were amazed that it actually showed the house and how it looked. Clip art is a collection of graphic images, 3D graphics software that provides a set of tools for creating wireframe models that represent three-dimensional objects. So the difference that 3D does from like a paint software and a Photoshop software, the photo software, the graphic, just to edit and enhance photos, that's all that does. The paint software allows you to draw. When you get to 3D graphics, that allows you to make models that look realistic and that has dimension to them. So that's where you can create objects like vehicles. If you work at a car plant and you're creating a new look for the new car that's coming out, you can create the dimensions using a program like 3D Studio Max or something like that. Gaming software also uses 3 dimensions. Anytime you're creating a realistic atmosphere, not just art, something that people have to do like virtual training in or something like that, you're going to use 3D software to do it. Draw rooms. A lot of interior designers are starting to use 3D software too, to kind of show you how the house is going to look after they knock the walls out and put it in the driveway so you can get an idea. So 3D software can be used for that. Architecture too. This picture right here is trying to show you the photo editing, how it's set up inside this Windows software here. There's something that it's trying to show you the difference of. I forgot. Last time I remember looking at this, the background, and I think, I can't remember, but I have to look at the picture again. I think it has where it removed the background or added a background or something like that. It's probably in the notes underneath the PowerPoint. So entertainment and education software, those are going to be like your computer games. That falls under multimedia, under specialized software. Entertainment software rating board, the ESRB ratings. If you do any type of gaming or play any type of football or basketball games using those computers, you see this little stamp on there that says Entertainment Software Rating Board, kind of like a stamp of approval, ESRB, that it's a game for public use. Music CDs can be created using a CD ripper software, so we already know that Windows Movie Maker is probably the most basic of software. I'm sorry, Windows Media Player allows you to rip and recreate CDs too, and that's much more higher level software to do that. Like Fruity Loops, a lot of people use that type of software to do the same thing. And those use MIDI files, and we talk about sound later on, but kind of referred to as fake music. It's a collection of a bunch of sounds, and you can just add them at the 8 count and add it at the 7 count, repeat the same audio over and over again, then you play it back and you have a whole song. So most of what you hear on the radio is made with programs like that. No live instruments too much. MP3 players and MP3 files convert music from other formats into formats for digital music players. You save a file as an MP3 file. So music editing software allows you to take audio that's in one version and go ahead and convert it and save it as an MP3. Real Player allows you to do that too. Audio editing software used to make digital voice and music recordings, so you can speak into a device, sing into it, you record it. You can make your own music at home if you're musically inclined by using the audio editing software. It doesn't have to be high tech. It can be something like Windows Movie Maker or something. You can bring your audio in, or Windows Media Player. If it edits audio, then that's a whole different type of software. That falls into specialized software, the AV, audio video type software. A lot of programs will allow you to manipulate the setup of the audio and allow you to save it as a different file, but it doesn't allow you to necessarily edit it. If you're actually editing the audio, pulling certain sounds out, adding new sounds in the background, then you need audio editing software. Some of the video editing software has options for you to edit audio with it. So like if you're using something like Adobe Premiere, that's an Adobe video production software, it allows you to create movies and edit movies and all that. But on the audio line, it allows you to manipulate and edit the audio just the same way you edit the video. It's not specified for that, but it does have the option for you to do so. Because most of video production is making audio work with it for the most part. We also have video DVD authoring software. How many people still make DVDs? I know, right?
I ain't never do that.
I burn a DVD. We don't use DVDs that much anymore, mostly because we of course use them commercially, but as far as making them at home, we don't need to. We can save those files to thumb drives and stuff now. We have YouTube where we can upload them straight to the internet. We don't even have a reason to save them anymore. We have these DVD players or televisions that allow us to plug USB directly into it, and if we have a movie on our thumb drive, we'll just play it off of there. We walk around with our handheld gadgets, and if we recorded a video, we just show it to our friends and family. We don't burn a DVD and say, look at the graduation picnic. We just show it to people from our devices. So we have less of a reason to put it in a format that can be passed around. We can pass around info using the web for the most part, and that's what we do. Also, they scratch very easily too. And also, DVDs can't be reused. Once you return a video into DVD, that once you give it to someone to use, once it's been finalized, even if it's a home video, unless you're using illegal DVD ripping software, it can't be broken down. It's finalized. It's a finished piece of work. You can only play it. It's only like read only. You can't like copy video off of it and save it somewhere else because it's a DVD. When you create a movie instead and like save it to a thumb drive, it's still in its raw format. Even when you save it as a movie, you still can go and open it up, put it into other video editing software, take it places with you, and break it down and do whatever you want to it because it hasn't been finalized on the disc.
No, that's, I was just wondering, that's probably why we did movie making and we had to put it on the flash drive.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Yeah, we don't do DVDs anymore. We used to. Because, you know, the thing about burning DVDs is that we used to waste so many. Because if something came out wrong or something wasn't right, that DVD was done and you can't use it. So you just toss it in the trash and then you try again. And then the process takes forever. It takes, depending on how much movie you're trying to convert, it has to save it a certain way, finalize the disc. That can take upwards to, you know, sometime between an hour or 2 hours to actually complete the process. We know now we don't do that. What we do is we drag the movie and drop it on our thumb drive and go about our business. So it's a lot different. Educational software allows you to learn and practice new skills also online. And this is just an idea of how the actual playlists work. And you see that's the old version of Windows Media Player. It's not Windows Live. Then we have project management software, an important tool for planning, managing large and small projects. So you'll find that OneNote is really good for that. We don't teach OneNote in here, but it's one of those project planning and management pieces of software. It allows you to create things like this, like brainstorm or pyramids or schemes on how you're going to get things done and who's going to do what first. It allows you to break it down into individual tasks for people that you're working with. It allows you to post all over the page, like as if it's a sticky board or something. So that option in OneNote is real good. You can add sticky notes to the board in OneNote. You can add comments to it. It doesn't keep you on a grid. It means everything has to be either in a row or a column, like if you were trying to use Excel or something, or SmartArt in Word. It allows you to be more free, like the way we actually think when it comes to managing projects. It gives you timelines. You know, you see those little timelines with dates saying when things happen and how it's going to go. It'll give you timelines. It also gives you cycles on how business actually cycles the one that you're working with, whatever project you're working on. What's going to happen from start to finish, you can do all that in project management software. Accounting software and finance software is used to keep records for monetary transactions and investments. So the most common accounting software that I know of is QuickBooks, but I don't do any accounting, and that's probably the one that I'm just the most familiar with. But it does things like tally up the, you know, costs related to your business, what type of budget you need, your sales forecast in the future. Payroll definitely is done through accounting. Any type of numerical, what is it called? any type of program that manipulates numerical values is going to fall under accounting software. That's the more specialized version of with the basic software in the spreadsheet. So you can create spreadsheets in Excel, and you can do a limited amount of accounting and stuff, but then there's software that's specifically designed for you to do accounting tasks. You can handle some of it in Excel, but it's not designed specifically for accounting. It's designed for any numerical value, anything.
I noticed on 2010 Excel, it does a lot more function than the old 7 accounts.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more built in that you don't have to know.
Yeah.
You used to have to know formula, know how to set it up,
Correct.
know what went where, and how to set up a what-if analysis and all that. Now, if you're getting close to it, it pops a little drop dialog box down that shows you how the numbers are filled in. Somebody told me in the Open Calculator that it actually tells you what number value should be there. So, like, depending on what you're trying to calculate, she was saying that it'll say your accounting, if you're trying to get this result, this should go here and that should go there. So, like, it takes it to the next level.
That's kind of hard.
Is it what?
Future values, like you figuring out the future.
Yeah.
Value.
It will be.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, if it knows where you're trying to head, it'll tell you not the exact value, but it'll say this is where this number would go and this is where this number would go if you're trying to get this result. Like, it'll tell you what number out of your information you should put in those spots. That's kind of like what Excel leaves off. It tells you how the formula's set up, but it doesn't tell you what number should go where. You have to know that part at least. So they was telling me that the Open Calculator actually says, if this is the result, if you're trying to get the sum of this column, if you're trying to get the sum of this column, then you probably need to enter columns B1 through B7. It gives you a little bit more of an insight on what you should be putting in those places. I don't know if that's good or bad. Like I said, if you know how to do it already, it makes you more productive. If you don't know how to do it already, it can be a hindrance to rely upon technology to get things done. Like I always tell people, even though you know MLA formatting, you can get on Word and it'll have templates for it now. But I said it's still good to know, because if you're ever faced with a word processor that doesn't have a template for you, you still know how to do it. But if you already know how to do it, it makes you more productive. If you don't, it becomes a crutch. You know what I mean? Mathematical modeling software provides tools for solving a wide range of math, science, and engineering problems. So if you're some type of a software engineer, a mathematical engineer, even a robotics engineer, they use software that caters to answering these huge formulas they have on how to get things to work together perfectly to get the result they want. A lot of times, it's very logical, and it seems like almost like mind-boggling to think that most of the equipment you have start off that way. Anything mechanical, somebody's put in insert information from a large formula of mathematical values to find out exactly how it's going to operate. Vehicles use this type of software big time. You got to think about it. That's a lot of action that's happening with a vehicle when you just start it up. What's going on underneath the hood, everything has to have its exact moment. When it does not, that's when you have car issues. And it's averaged to the millisecond. This needs to happen, this, and the processes and how they go. That's a lot for a vehicle. So those mathematical values that people use for engineering class and software engineering classes, those type of values are what you would use that type of software for. And if you think about it, that's kind of magical almost to me. The idea of a car having the process of starting it up and actually hitting the road, that's a lot of things happening back to back that have to be set up in an exact way for it to work. It's like, making good music. If one thing is off, you know it. Everything else after that is not going to happen right. And that's car problems. Like a misfiring, a car, something like that. If the car misfires, then the processes that's supposed to happen after that don't happen like it's supposed to, and that's when you have car issues. So mathematical modeling software is something that they use to make sure the intricate calculations related to math and engineering come out correctly.
I know that people used to trip out because we wouldn't be on the scene. But we would have measurements to the room, and we could actually tell them how much furniture would fit in. I mean, whatever would fit in the room.
Did y'all use software for it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that would be like the same type of idea. So there's a logical aspect to just about everything. If the numbers don't work, then the furniture won't fit. And that's just the bottom line. And, you know, everything is like that. It's just like if you're putting new flooring in your house. If you measure your space and you measure the amount of flooring you're buying, I don't care what you do with that flooring. If it's not enough, it's just not enough. Exactly. I got some in the closet right now, just sitting there. Like, if the day comes, I got about 3 boxes of some wood flooring. Then the last one is going to be defining business and science software. So statistical software, things that analyze large amounts of data. Anytime you hear the word statistics, that's like demographics or either like information on individuals and what they like to do, the products they buy. What are things related to? I call it like profiling software. Software that allows you to put people, places, and things into groups and try to predict the future on how those things are going to react or behave to certain things that happen in environments. So you can say, we put a Walmart in this area, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be successful because we have people between the ages of 35 and 50 years old, and they go to work 8 hours a day, and their paychecks are like this averagely. The homes they own are like this. The type of vehicles they drive are like this. So they also need automotive products, maybe an automotive shop. Using statistics is how business finds out everything. So when you use the information that's collected, the thing about statistics is once it's collected using the proper software, it can be used for a plethora of different reasons. You can collect software just to find out if an area has a high crime rate and use the same information to find out what type of utilities everybody's using. You can pull whatever you want once you've collected it in good software. Statistics. Internet software solutions can be used directly from the internet. So if you have any software that's web-based, what they call it, you can use it directly from the internet. You don't download it. You don't use it on your own computer. SAM is a good example of that. You go out to the web, you log in through it to the web. You're using software, but you don't have to download it or install it on your system. You're using it out on the web.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a difference. I wonder how SAM works.
It does. And the thing about web-based software is that it can hiccup a lot more because you're relying on the network to run efficiently while you're using the software. So that's why people use it. They're like, it's hanging, it's doing this. You're not relying on your PC working well, which probably works really well. You're relying on the network to transfer the information to you in real time. And sometimes if the bandwidth gets heavy, if you're at the school, it'll hiccup or it'll freeze on you, slow down, things like that.
In other words, just like work groups.
Kinda, but this external. This is external. Because you're talking about like work group when you have software on one main system and everybody logs into it. Same type of thing. So you'll see over here, like they use DataTel over here. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's kind of like an internal usage thing to kind of collect and store student information and data. Nobody on this campus has that installed on their computer. What they have installed on their computer is a window that allows them to see into a database that's on a server somewhere else. So nobody really has DataTel software on their system. They're just logging into software that's out there on the network. Same idea, but when you say web-based, you're talking about on the web, not just, yeah. And then you have the software suites, a collection of applications sold as a single package. So whenever you're going to buy certain software, you always want to find out if it comes in a suite. You don't ever want to just buy single software. Like, don't walk in the store and say, I want to buy Word or get online, because it's going to cost more for you to get one feature that probably comes in a package. And if it comes in a package deal, you're going to get a discount on getting everything together. And it's just the company logically thinking, if you're buying Word, then you're probably going to need Excel. If you're buying Excel, you're probably going to need PowerPoint. It groups things logically together for you because they know if you're using this software, it won't be long before you'll need this other type of software too.
So a suite is considered a package.
A bundle. Mm-hmm. And utility software, a type of system software designed to perform specialized tasks. Many utilities come with operating systems. Some of these run in the background. Third-party utilities are compression utilities, things that compress files for easy transfer. We don't compress files as much anymore because we have a lot more space. File compression used to be more of a big deal when your hard drive and your network had limited space or your bandwidth was limited and when you can send and receive information over the network. Now it's rare that that's an issue, so we don't compress files that much. And all compression is breaking it down, sort of like encryption, into a smaller format enough for so you can email it or transfer it to different places. And then on the other end, they decompress it, and it's the same information and yet you didn't have to lose anything for the transfer the information from one place to the next. Security utilities, those are going to be things that come with like an antivirus software. Those usually come with a security feature on them also too. So not only do they stop you from being attacked by viruses, they'll also have privacy on the computer so you can browse in private, and they'll also have security that doesn't let people hack you. Those are three different things. They sound real similar. Antivirus is malicious software, things that are sent to ruin your system in some kind of way. Security is things like having your information stolen. Privacy is being anonymous when you're actually using the web and you're actually using certain websites. It makes sense? Those things kind of seem to come in all into one place, but they really don't. Those are three separate things. So most security utilities come in antivirus software suites. So you get a pop-up blocker, you get a privacy monitor, things like that, things that monitor your privacy. You get a security feature on there, like a better firewall maybe that blocks people from being able to tap into your computer at home. And then you'll also get like some type of a PC scan and diagnose your system and tell it whether it's running slow, if there's problems. A lot of those utilities are built into your operating system. But of course, when you buy the software, you're getting it on a higher level.
Yeah, because I noticed a lot of this you're talking about now is located in the Windows.
In the control panel.
Yeah, and sidebar too. Windows sidebar.
Yeah.
The temperature on for you.
Oh, yeah. And it tells you the diagnosis stuff. When you go in the control panel, that should be everything related to your system that you need to find and manipulate. Inside the control panel, and I'll go ahead and pull it up since we're looking at it right now. Be on your left-hand side here. And you see everything related to the system, administrative tasks, your display, audio if you want to change something that you made a mistake and changed by mistake, your settings for the internet options and all that. You're going to find all that in the control panel. Speech recognition software, all this stuff is built into the Windows operating system. There's even like the Windows Defender that's down at the bottom. That's also a level of protection for your computer. Backup and restore, things that allow you to back up your system once a week. System restores, things that allow you to restore your system back to an earlier date. So if you changed something or messed up something or you lost software and you don't know what you did, go into the control panel and do a system restore and turn the clock back. It's the only time in life where you can actually turn the clock back and it may work properly. Sometimes people do irreconcilable damage. So you'll try to turn it back, but it will never make the software work the same way. Sometimes that happens. For the most part, it should be the same. Yeah, you'll go back and you'll see that it's not exactly the same as it should be. Document reader utilities that actually read documents for you. Device drivers, we just talked about that. Drivers, software that's actually needed when you install any type of peripheral device, any type of hardware device to your computer. It actually speaks to the system and tells it what it is. If you plug in a printer, it's not going to know what that printer is until you actually install drivers. Unless it's plug and play. If it's plug and play, the drivers are still loaded on the system, but they're preloaded for you. So some people are like, well, I didn't need drivers for my, printer. Why would I need drivers for my new scanner? You didn't need drivers for the printer because the operating system was gracious enough to load some driver software in there from some of the top selling or mostly used printers that are out there. So some things you can just plug up in. It'll say drivers installed, your device is ready to be used. And then some things will say can't find the information on it. You'll have to go out to the website. Who makes it? If it's an HP printer, you go to hp.com. You go to the support page, and it has drivers. You click drivers, and it'll let you download the software that belongs to that object. Without that software, like I say, the computer does not know what it is you plugged in. Also, desktop widgets. Those are those little things you see on the desktop that allows you to see weather, calendars, clocks. Windows Vista had these a lot. And it would be little widgets you saw on the desktop, and they allowed you quick access to a lot of your resources you used a lot. The only thing about running widgets is that they're running on your desktop and your desktop is active. They take up a lot of memory just sitting there in use, but you're not using them. So you may have quick access to weather or the date and time and all that kind of stuff on your computer. But if your computer's running sluggish, you want to go ahead and take the widgets off the desktop.
Because I'm running Vista Business.
You have like things like that on the desktop. That's a big issue for sluggishness, and then also how much do you have starting up with the computer when you turn it on? The way you know that you have how many programs you have starting with the computer, if you look over in the right-hand side here, all those programs that are loaded on the right-hand side will tell you what's actually opened at startup. Exactly. Before you open or touch anything. Some people, I'll go to their house that used to work on computers, they would have programs all the way out to here. And it'll be like, my computer's booting up slow because it's trying to start 12 programs with it while it's actually booting up. And then once it's running slow because the memory's being used by 12 programs that you're not using right now. Messengers do that a lot, like Yahoo Messengers, MSN Messengers, printer software, webcam software. It's like when you're installing it, it'll say, do you want to go ahead and make this start up with Windows? A lot of people just say yes to everything. Yeah. Yes, 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 and then they just want to use the software, but every time you turn the computer off and on, you're being held up by having too much installed on the system at startup. And to change all your startups, usually you go somewhere into the, I don't want to change any of these settings for startup.
Now I see what you're talking about in this right-hand corner down there.
Exactly, down there on the toolbar at the bottom. Exactly. If you want to change that, then you go inside, you right-click on whatever the option is, and then you go into the, yeah, usually that's the case, but this one doesn't start up with the system either, and I have it open right now, so I might be getting different options. Usually there's an options or preferences tab. Preferences is most common, and then options is another common one. When you click on those, it'll tell you, what do you want? Do you want it to start up when the computer starts up? And it'll say yes or no on it. I'm trying to see if it lets you. See, this doesn't let you adjust that. It's saying, do you want to show it? Some of this stuff is, see right here, if I right click on Insight, the one I use to control the consoles, it says preferences. And it'll tell you, do you want to start up with the computer or not? Or something like that shows up. And I may not get all the options on here like I should, because this is not software that you're supposed to tinker with at all that I'm using. And you'll see inside of these options, usually it's on the first page, and it'll say start up with Windows, yes or no, and you can just change your options that easily. And then we have, those are some of the widgets people would have on their desktops, taking up a lot of memory.
That's it, true.
I know, and then so software license agreement, that's a legal contract that allows you to use software. So you call the EULA, the end user license agreement. Usually we just say, yes, I accept the terms, because if you say no, you can't use it. Nobody really reads that. So categories of software, public and proprietary software. So you have stuff that's open for people to use, open for people to edit, and then you have stuff that's proprietary. More stuff like what Macintosh makes, software that's only used on their products and only can be manipulated or tinkered with by them, period. Nobody else.
So that's why YouTube got a lot of their videos that you can't download that they consider fire.
Well, that's like the videos that are, that's more of a license agreement when it comes to, that's more of the copyright agreement. When we talk about having public access to different videos, that's in another chapter. But that's not like you want to use software. You just want to have access to somebody else's work. They all won't let you do that. And you have the option when you upload whether you want people to be able to do that or not. Shrink wrap license, it goes to the effect as soon as the package is open. So it's just saying when you go to the store, like we don't really do anymore, and buy software, the shrink wrap that it comes in, it says that when you open the shrink wrap, that the license is automatically yours. You can say, oh, I just noticed I got the wrong thing, but I didn't install it. The idea of the whole shrink wrap license ideology means that once, you know, kind of like you break, you buy, you open, it's yours. And they don't go back and change anything for you when it comes to that. People don't really use this policy that much anymore because we don't buy software out of stores that much. We mostly download it and pay for it online. You did. And now you get so much stuff bundled because people find out that you only buy, you get stuff bundled because they want you to use their products. You only buy the computer once every so often. They want to make sure that you're rebuying the stuff that it takes to maintain it from them. Kind of like printers. Printers cost like $20 in Walmart now. but the ink is about $60 for both cartridges, you know. They're not worrying about the price of the device anymore because they say, well, they don't buy that often. They buy that once every couple of years. They buy the ink every few months. So give them the printer for free, and they'll keep coming back to us for the ink. And it makes sense. Cell phone providers are the same way. You can have the phone for free. Are you going to sign a contract? This is where we make our money, having you pay your monthly bill, not making you pay $500 for the device. We don't care anything about the device. You can take it. But are you going to pay us $200 a month for your phones? That's what's important. It just makes sense. Types of software licenses: single user license, meaning it's only for one user. A site license, meaning that you use it at an establishment. It's for use on a particular site and people that visit that site only. Multiple user license, meaning that it's different from a site license because a site license can be regulated. Say this room right here was entity unto itself, where you can come and visit and come and go and you have logins and all that kind of stuff. The license agreements are good for this classroom. So it doesn't matter how many users come and go, as long as they use it in this classroom, they're fine. When you go to multiple user, that means that it's for multiple individual users. So it's going to cater to specific computer systems. It doesn't have anything to do with the group and people that come and go. It's only for individual users, and it may be multiple individual users. And then a concurrent license, meaning that you can have one piece of software and have multiple concurrent license on it at one time. Yeah, exactly. You can go from, like Adobe software is really good with that. You can do concurrent licenses with them a lot. More than one person can use the license at one time, and it goes into effect directly. I'm trying to think. I know concurrent license mean that it's something happening at the same time. What I'm thinking at the same time, it has to mean that
it's like a contract on a subcontract.
I'm thinking that's how it has to work, because I remember
allow other people to work upon your contract.
I think so. That there's one main license, and then you can have like these user license underneath.
Right.
I think that has to be what it is. I'll double check that too. In most countries, computer software is protected by copyright. In a lot of countries, it's not. China's a real big one. They don't have patents or copyrights on anything. They don't care anything about any of those policies. That's why everything you see that's being recreated that has patents on it, that has copyrights on it, in that country, they just make it. They're not a part of any of those international treaties that say there's an intellectual property, there's copyright laws, and respect them or not respect them, they just don't deal with them.
That's how they stay ahead of us in technology. You know, no copyright and patent.
Yeah, they create.
They steal your idea.
They're like, if you can create and make it better, then you have the right to do so. Intellectual property ownership of certain types of information, ideas, or representation. So we already know that. If people create a book, they create a method of a way of doing something, procedures and things like that, you can get an intellectual property over it. It means that you own those ideas. They're so hard to measure because you're trying to go off of what's inside somebody's head. So that's why good documentation of your ideas or your procedures or books and all that kind of stuff is really good if you want to prove intellectual property in court. Before installing software, check the system requirements. It means how much memory do you have? How much storage do you have? In your system, if you go ahead and go to, I just always go to system. Information, yeah. If you go to system information, that's exactly what it is. It gives you up-to-date info. This computer right here has 2 gigs of memory. 1.93 is 2 gigs of memory. It has available physical memory, 1.1 gig, and virtual memory, 3.87. It gives you the complete hard drive space that's on it also too. Hardware, under hardware resources. If you want all information on your computer, just go to system information. It tells you the version of operating system you're running, the build that you're running, different things like that. Those are the things that's on a package when you go to purchase software from a store. And it says, do you have these features? Can you run the software? You want to compare it to what you find in your system information. Okay, I didn't have anything clicked. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Yeah, it's showing more than what I was bargaining for too. Yeah, it looked like the summary has more specific information to the actual computer name. Yeah, what type of processor it's running on it, what model of the computer it is, who makes the computer. You find all that from the system summary. So from there, activation, that means that it's required by many software publishers, meaning that you have to activate the software. That's the way that they legally check the software to make sure that you're not using it illegally. It won't operate until you actually go to the website and register it. From then they know whether it's a legal copy or not, and they'll let you know. This copy of this software is not legal. This key code has been used before, blah, blah, blah. Activation is used to regulate the users, which makes sense. Updates, patches, and service packs and software upgrades. So like you're working in Windows 7 and the computer crashes and it says, do you want to send or don't send the message? Most of us click don't send because we don't want to get involved in any questionnaires. But really that information is collected so they can know about the conflicts in the issues that happen on your computer. And that's how they create the patches that go into service packs that you download from the website and actually cure some of those things. Most of the time, if you have everything updated, then your system will lose the glitches. Word keeps opening and crashing when you open it. Try going to the Microsoft Office website and download all the latest updates and see if there's a fix for the issue that's happening on your computer. Uninstall programs is when you remove them from the program. The last thing we have is software piracy. Is it easy to do but illegal? So piracy always crosses the line of what happens if I want to share a CD with my sister. Is that the same as sharing it online with somebody I don't know? What's the difference? So people always go back and forth with that type of argument about music. Software piracy takes on many forms. You can counterfeit, make large-scale illegal duplication of a software, and sometimes even its packaging. So you like making an exact copy of this actual software in a package that it comes in and for passing it off like it's the actual software. Then there's internet piracy. It uses the web to distribute unauthorized software legally. So it's the real version of the software, but you distribute it online. They're talking about like LimeWire, BitTorrent sites that allow you to share software, but not in a legal capacity. And they give you people give you license numbers with it. They put a key generator with it, so it'll generate a new key for you every time you install it on your system. And then software piracy. It has a negative effect on the economy, negatively affects customer service. So we kind of thought this for a long time. It kind of shifted the way that we operate online with things, like the music industry and software. But it hasn't killed it like people used to say is going to happen. If people can get, they just learn how to function a new way. Sell an album, you sell it per song. You don't sell it online for $12.99 anymore. You let people go through and find what songs. And the thing about it is when one song gets popular, the money that's being made for the individual artist that's not on a record company and don't have a record deal, that's just doing their own thing, is way more of a profit than some people made back in the day, selling a whole lot more going through the record company. Record companies don't really like this kind of thing, neither software industry, because it makes the people who create it more independent of their services.
Yeah.
So like people that know how to create software, you have an outlet now where you can just let people have your software for free until it becomes a demand for it, something like that. So the avenues in which people saw as piracy for some businesses is a help until they actually get known and people want to use what they have out there. So most of the stuff just changes the industry. Yeah. All right, so that's it for Unit C. No, it wasn't bad. I like the software section. Yeah, I know, right? And I didn't even start right when class started, so I'm good. The quiz, A, B, and C, it's on Unit A, Unit B, and Unit C. One is on hardware, and one is on the World Wide Web and Internet. So it's open book, open notes, and all that kind of stuff. So while you're taking it, make sure you have your book handy. If something kind of stumps you, don't try to answer it. Go back and double check. You keep your PowerPoints open, and then you might be able to refer directly to it. Makes sense. And good luck with that. Oh, and that's going to be due before class on Thursday for you all. Not the online.
Not after midnight.
Not after midnight.